Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Hmm.
So, Shauna, I just kind of wanted to start with you telling me what was home life like, growing up. What was that like for you?
Okay, so I really, my main memories are from growing up in Lockford. I have a couple memories from before that. I was born in the Bay Area, but my dad ran a construction business, so he had us move a few times. But my main memories come from him putting us into the Lockford home in the Bluffs. Um, and at that point, because I guess they decided that they wanted us raised, me and my sisters raised in a small town, and my mom loved that house. That regardless of how much he had to work in the Bay Area for the money he made, they were gonna keep us there. So he'd have, he'd work all week in the Bay Area, and my mother would be raising us constantly at the house in the Lockford Bluffs.
Okay.
Um, so my mom developed a lifestyle that she lived separate from, like what my dad and her would have together, during the week. It was party, and I have two little sisters, but it was off the hook during the week, and then my dad would be able to come home during the weekends when he's not working job sites, and then there would be like emergency cleanup, and then dad was home, you know?
Okay. So your dad would be off-site working, and mom would be taking care of you guys, and mom would be getting into extracurricular stuff and then have to clean it up before dad got home?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so early on, I became a daddy's girl, you know? And my dad he ended up running a business called McCloud Builders, and he had extra freedom, and but I mean he had a lot on his plate too, running a business. So as I got a little bit older, like I was the first child to receive a cell phone. Like no teachers had
Mm-hmm.
cell phones, no kids had cell phones. My dad gave me a cell phone so I could tell him what my mom was doing. You know what I mean?
Got it.
But my childhood was full of violence, constant violence. Like if it wasn't my mom's friends attacking each other over something, it was definitely my parents. Like I would say that I became a mediator for them.
How old
Very,
were you at this time?
it goes back as far as I remember, so a long time.
Okay. It's like before teens, even?
Yes. Oh
Wow.
yeah. No, I
Okay.
was like 6, 7 years old.
And being a mediator for your parents.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Standing between them.
And when you say standing between them, are they being physically violent with each other, or are they just
Oh
arguing and you were trying to stop it?
yeah. Be physically violent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, my mom decided like when she got pregnant with me, she didn't need to work. My father told her that she didn't need to work because he had enough money to make sure we had everything we needed. So like he was the income and she was the stay-at-home mom, you know?
Got it. Okay. Did your mom ever work?
Yeah, she worked
Okay.
before me, but I don't know much about it.
Got it. Okay. And are
Um,
they the same age, mom and dad?
no, my dad was like 13 years older than my
Older.
mother.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was I don't, I know it's tough to talk about these things, but what was the violence like? I know you mentioned that you grew up and it was violent.
Yeah, like my dad was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Like and my mother liked methamphetamine,
Okay.
So like the mixture of those two were not were not good.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
My dad would do drugs as well, like but like I wouldn't say meth was his thing at first when I was a kid. Like he had to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
He loved to get drunk though. Like and so I was not born with asthma, I guess. I developed it when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
So, I ended up in the hospital. It was a scary thing, whatever. They determined that I was allergic to animals. Okay. Like, highly allergic to them. My mom has an obsession with animals. Like, to where we have, like, 45 cats running through a huge house, you know?
Oh, jeez.
Like, anything we bring home, even as a child, like, I would be like, oh, there's a kitten, I'm gonna bring it home, even though I'm gonna, like, start not being able to breathe, you know what I mean? Like, so I remember, like, that sparking a lot of my father's rages, you know? He would come home from, like, the Bay Area, like, real late at night sometimes, like, and I'd be sleeping. And sometimes I'd wake up to his head on my chest so he could listen to my lungs.
Oh, yeah.
And if I was wheezing, like, the first thing, I would hear, I don't know if I can cuss, but it would be bad words towards my mother.
Really? What would he say?
Like, bitch, my daughter cannot breathe, and as soon as that cracked off, like, and my father literally, like, would take Kirby vacuums to the wall. Like,
wow.
It would be bad. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so mom never got rid of these animals, though, or?
No, not willingly. No, like, towards the end, okay, so the end of that time in that house, like, I believe I was coming into high school, my father got a contract to build the homes in, I don't know, up the hill from us, basically, like in Valley Springs area, like that. There's a bunch of new houses out there, but my dad got a contract way back in the day to start building out there.
Okay.
So that was,
So your dad was a general contractor? Okay.
yeah, so that was basically like his ticket, like, ooh, I get to come home and be with my kids full time.
Got it.
However, that's not going to fit with my mother's lifestyle. Like, especially, they could barely get along on the weekends. For him to come and be there full time,
yeah,
completely not going to happen in her world. Like, not easily,
Got it.
So the war began,
Okay.
And basically what they did, my father started trapping my mother's cats, like, because he's, like, realizing that I'm not able to breathe on the weekends. I could never breathe. I was in the hospital, like, more than a child should ever be in the hospital if you can control it,
Yeah.
Like, it was just, like, I grew comfortable being outside more than I would be comfortable being inside because of that,
Yeah.
So, I just remember the war sparking, and my father decided to go, like, trap my mother's cats, like, and it was a war, put it that way, and they got really petty with each other, and basically, like, my mom ended up taking it to court. Now my father's gonna owe her not only child support but, like, alimony.
Yeah.
They've been married for, like, 25 years, and she's been a stay-at-home mom the whole time, so he's gonna have to give her, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
a decent amount of money there too.
Yeah.
Well, he told her like this: I'll pinch a tent before you get a dime from me. And so they literally lost everything.
Wow. So he just stopped the work, stopped everything. He said, I'd rather not have anything with you than give you anything of mine.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
But, like, I will say this, like, an important part of that, like, that, like, part of my life was, even as much as my little sisters drove me crazy, my mom used that, like, me as, like, I was always the one they wanted to follow around, So, like, that was always the big distraction from them. However, I will say that, like, when things always cracked off, my father's trying to set the house on fire, blowing the backyard up, like, things like that. Like, I would always protect them, like, take them in the furthest, room or take them down the street.
How
or,
old
like,
are your siblings?
So, Jessie was the middle child, so she's like she's like 2.5 years younger than me, and Tiffany's the youngest. She's about 5 years younger than me.
Okay, so only sisters, no brothers?
Huh? No, I've got like four other half sisters all around, but
Got
just we grew up. Me and my two little sisters grew up fully together.
Got it. Okay. Now, I want to kind of take a few steps back. I know you said your mother, she got addicted to methamphetamine, and dad was an alcoholic, but he also dabbled with some drugs.
Yeah.
Was he dabbling in the same drugs as mom or different?
So as a child, like I had everything, right? Like my father ran a business, and I, like I don't know, like I literally there's nothing that would pop up on a commercial on TV, like and like I seen that I couldn't have, like, and I remember, so I would go, and my mom was like a size 00, like she was tiny, so like I would be going when she wasn't paying attention and trying to steal her shirts, like from out of her bedroom, and I'll never forget when I found an Altoids can, like, and I opened it, and boom, and there's a bunch of like white dust with 2 little pink straws, and I ran out to the garden where she was watering, like she had like a million plants, but I was like, ooh, Mom, I know what this is, and she grabbed it from me, and she's like, do you know how you get your fucking Barbies? You know how you get your Barbie beach bungalow? Like screaming at me, like basically like I should shut up, because the reason why I got a lot of the stuff that I got was because of the white powder that I had found.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And you were how old at this time?
Like 7.
So how did you know what you were looking at 7?
I didn't, like, I had heard my parents screaming at each other, like, at night. Like, I'll never forget, like, my dad coming home, like, where's my fucking dope, bitch? Like, so I kind of, like, as a child was like, dope. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and through my mom's friends, like, in the, like, in the circle of the way of life, like, I figured out what dope was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So I'm slowing down right here just so I can cut that part out, that noise that was back there.
Yeah.
So I'm stopping us for a second, but okay. So you, at a very young age, you kind of started hearing that word dope and started understanding what it was, and you knew that what you found was what your dad was talking about when he said that.
Yeah.
Okay. And you thought by taking it to mom, you were just going to make her think that you had something on her, or is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, well, so I was used to my father attacking my mother about a lot of things. Did I believe them all? Not necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, you're a whore, you're this, you're that. You know what I mean? Like, my dad would also make empty threats. Like, my youngest sister was terrified of fire. Terrified of fire. Because he's like, bitch, I'm going to burn this house down. Like, and, like, he's done a few incidents with fire. So, like, when my youngest sister was a real baby, like, she's seen a flame and she'd start having panic attacks, you know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah, when you're little, you don't know what's true, what's, you don't know if it's an empty threat or not.
So I really didn't know what to believe when my father was screaming,
Yeah. So when you mentioned, it was violent, were there actual assaults that happened during the time they were married and you were younger? You witnessed this?
Plenty of ass whoopings, yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Mom to dad, or dad to mom, or both, or?
Dad to mom, and then like, so if my father would come home to, like, let's say he wanted to do a surprise visit while my mom's got what she's got going on during the week, violence.
Wow.
like automatic violence. Like one of her friends stole my father's gun out of the house, like it just a lot of scenarios with violence.
Okay.
Yeah,
K-
standoffs,
Are
violence.
you okay with elaborating on that? Like what happened exactly during those times? Or
Yeah, like one of her like friends that was full blown on one. Like he it's crazy. I remember him like vividly standing there like I don't know why my parents had a dresser just sitting in the damn middle of the living room. They were moving it or
yeah.
something, but in the top drawer, my father's gun was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing that man like with his hand, like talking to my mom, with his hand on the dresser like this, and like everything I was seeing, I knew my mom wasn't supposed to have him there. Like, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
whole situation as a child, like to look at, I was like, ooh,
Mm.
ooh, like, but what he was doing was taking my dad's gun, you know?
Wow.
So when my dad got there, like later that night or the next day, like, wake up to screaming, where's my fucking gun, bitch? Like,
Yeah.
and, like, I remember just a bunch of people coming over to the house, like my father screaming, and basically he wanted that man brought to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and like when things would get that dramatic and drastic, like I was a daddy's girl. Like,
Yeah.
like I wanted to be by his side. Like, I'm gonna help you, dad. And I just remember like my dad screaming he was gonna kill him, and then like when he was brought to him, like he found a way to run, and my father chasing him, like like. But that's just like one example, like where I didn't have to see the violence. There's plenty
Yeah.
of them that I
Now, did Dad
had to
ever
see.
put his hands on Mom and
Absolutely, yeah,
he hurt her, or you seen it happen?
yeah, absolutely,
Wow.
yeah. He's like broken her whole face open, like
With his hands, or
yeah. No, I think he hit her with something that time, um, but it like my mom would make a habit of she'd be like she decided to like lock herself in a room,
mm-hmm.
and we had this big house, like, and that made so the house like was really nice when we first got it, but at some point in time it became like every single door in our house was like kicked down and broken down. The only door left I remember was my bedroom door.
Mm.
And so my mom decided to come lock herself in my bedroom. And I'm like, no, mom. Like, but for some reason, I will say this: my father refused to kick in my door. I don't know why.
Wow. Wow. You think it was just out of respect for you? You were
Yeah.
his
Well,
little girl?
I was the closest one to him, so
Yeah.
I believe
Okay.
so. Yeah.
That makes sense. So, when you seen this type of violence going on, was it, excuse me, was it normal for you, or was it more like, oh no, again, we're dealing with this, or was it kind of like, oh, again, we're dealing with this?
So it became very normal for me. But here I am, like, I'm a child. I go to school, and I'm in the Bluffs. That's a neighborhood full of people who are kind of wealthy. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm in that situation, like I'm going to school and I want to hang out with the wealthy kids. Like I want to be one of them,
Yeah.
I have all the nice stuff like they do.
Mm-hmm.
However, like, it became a trend. They all wanted to be at my house. Like,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, the furthest house I wanted away from me was mine, and it just kind of sucked because my house was the fun house.
Wow.
Like, while all these kids wanted to come over because there's no rules. Like, my parents are off doing what they do, so we do what we want. Like, you know what I mean? Plus, I have everything the wealthy kids have, so my house was the fun house, like,
Wow.
but I just I wanted a way out, constantly from being a small child. Like, I looked at all these wealthy kids with really normal families, like, and I was very jealous.
Mm. All your friends and everybody that you went to school with were trying to get into your house. You were trying to get out of it.
Hmm.
Wow. And do their parents, as far as you know, did their parents know anything about your parents and what was going on in the house?
Some of them did and some of them didn't. Like, I mean, like the ones that I was really close to, of course, they, you know what I mean? They knew how my parents were, and they would know, like, when my father was coming around and not have their kids there at those times.
Oh,
You know what I
got it.
mean? If they
Okay.
were, because a lot of them were good friends with my mom, you know?
Yeah.
And then there would be, like, parents that figured out exactly what my house had going on and be like, you're not going back over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Were the police ever called?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Constantly.
So people probably, neighbors saw that, right?
Like, I remember they called my grandma, like, look, you got to come get these kids or we're going to take them. Because we've came to this house 3 times already tonight, like, and they're not, we've threatened them that we're going to take their kids if they don't stop, and they're not stopping. So you can either come get them or we're going to take them. And so my grandma came and got us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And was mom or dad ever arrested in front of you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, because my mom decided to go get the restraining order finally, and, like, that was at the point where he was going to move in. You know what I mean? Like, if she couldn't live somewhat of her own life, like, it was bound for disaster, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
So, like, that's that point, though, that they were going to, like, start their demise, like, with the loss of everything, you know?
Yeah. So your experience with law enforcement as a kid, was it damaged at that time, or was it like, oh, they're here to stop this problem from happening?
So, with police, like, well, like, I mean, I had learned that my parents were, like, dealing with drugs, you know? So, like, and then as I started to rebel more and more, like, through time, like, the police were automatically, like, the opposition. You know what I mean? And I felt like all the times that they came to the house, really, they didn't help anyway. You know what I mean? I didn't understand how they could help, but it was always a bad thing if the cops were coming, you know?
Okay. So they weren't looked at as the people that were saving you from what was going on. It was more like, okay,
No,
this is not
they were
good.
the ones that were going to take us away if my parents couldn't figure out how to act right, you know?
Yeah.
So, no.
Okay. And then from there, did this type of upbringing, did it cause you to have like a different type of view on life and the world that was ahead of you?
So I started going into rages, like, very young, very young.
Okay.
The things my mother did during the week and, like, you know, with her own time, I objected to. I didn't agree with it. It made me angry. You know what I mean? Like, very
Yeah.
angry. Like, angry until the point, like, she'd really have to hold me down on the kitchen floor for hours. Like, and I would still, like, the second she let go of me, get up swinging, you know, knowing I was losing still.
Yeah.
So, I was, yeah, a very angry child. My goal was usually always to backlash at my mom. I remember that I literally failed, like, 1st through 5th grade, and I was just, like, half-assed trying to do my homework, my summer school homework or whatever, like, and my mom was, like, sitting there trying to help me with something I was confused by, you know, like, and she got frustrated and called me stupid, like, and, like, I remember that made me so mad that I literally made honor roll all of 6th grade just to show her I wasn't stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you put most of the blame on mom for growing up? And I'm not saying that she wasn't to blame. I'm just saying some kids decide which parent they want to be closer to and who they want to blame.
My rage at first, like, was very much so towards my mother, yes.
Okay.
Very
And then
much so.
when you said that you would rage and she would have to hold you down, were you trying to attack her, or were you just breaking
Yes.
things in the house, or both?
I was going after her.
After her. Okay. Have you ever heard her?
Yeah, like, well, like how to break her stuff or whatever. I knew I was in a losing fight when I was a child. Like there was no way to win it. So like but I would still go in a rage and just forget that, you know what I mean, that aspect of it would disappear. Like so I would break something she likes, or like
Yeah.
just start flipping out, like, you know what I mean. And some of it was because I was not like gentle with my sisters either, you know what I mean. But I had them around me a lot more because my mom kind of used me as a babysitter in a way, you know what I mean, like while
Yeah.
she was off doing her own thing, like, or she was coming down, she'd lock herself in her room for a week at a time, you know what I mean, like. So it's like I had the girls a lot, so I was not gentle with them, you
Yeah.
know. I was protective over them when it came to other aspects in life, but as far as being gentle towards them myself, absolutely not.
Wow. So did you love mom, or did you have like a hate in you for mom?
Both.
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 Okay. And was it the same feeling for dad?
Well, at first I was very much so a daddy's girl, you know, and like I didn't see the things that my father did when he was gone
Mm-hmm.
so much, because, you know, like all I know is that I remember being a little girl trying to chase him down the driveway, like, Daddy, I want to go with you, you know, like.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's got his business to run and all kinds of other stuff going on. I didn't know all the aspects of his life outside of, you know, what weekends brought. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's why like, now that I'm older, I see that. But as a child, I didn't, you know?
Got it.
So I did not have any of the, like, anger as much towards my father, you know?
Okay. And did your dad hang around with different types of people? Did he have a group of people that he would hang out with, or?
So my parents were very much so, like, bikers. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, my father would have been, like, back in the day, full blown, he would have been, like, in the Hells Angels group. But if he wasn't, you know, being, like, he was running a business. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he, luckily, he put that above all the other bullshit, you know what I mean?
Got
But
it.
if that wasn't his priority, like, then he definitely would have been running with them, you
Okay.
know?
Is that who he hung out with at that
Yeah.
time? Oh, wow. Okay. So he like riding with them as
Mhm.
well, or was he just kind of like hung out at bars that they were at?
Well, like, especially like when he was in the Bay Area, like my mom was always sporting all those colors and stuff, but he had a lot of friends who were in that area of life, you know, like
Got it.
my mom never let that go. Like that was my mom's like excitement. My mom loves that kind of stuff. My dad kind of moved on from it, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, like as much as he was irresponsible, he still held on to his responsibilities as far as like running his business went, you know?
Yeah. Okay. And then, so as you're getting older, um, when you went into middle school, high school, what was that like? Was it normal, or were you still dealing with drama?
Okay, like middle school, well, I was still the like Lockford Bluffs during middle school. Like I just, you know, I started bringing out my aggression like in other places like school. Like it's just, you know, like I hadn't even really started liking boys like that till middle school, you know what I mean? Like I just you know, like my main goal like up until middle school like was when I was at home and it had to be was protecting my sisters and just getting away from home
Hmm.
and being like I was just really starting to rebel and run.
Okay. Were you getting involved in like gangs or drugs and drinking
Well,
with people?
drinking was first.
Drinking was first. Okay.
Drinking was first. Yeah, and
And
you know it's crazy because I don't know the Lockford group of people. My mom was around and stuff like that. Like I guess you could say like I didn't support being around gang members. Like I was supposed to like I was really told that I was supposed to stay with my race as a child because I was white. So
okay.
like like I wasn't really allowed to branch off like
Wow.
you mean according to my mom's friends and like the groups that my parents were around. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And so mom was running around with kind of like the girlfriends and wives of these bikers. Is that who mom was hanging around with?
No, my mom hung around with all men.
All men. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, like she had a few homegirls, but it was mostly men.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so, high school was the same thing. Were you just getting more?
Okay, so when I get to high school, that's about the time that my parents have made sure they've both lost everything.
Okay.
Everything. So my mom tried to take us, like girls, to my grandmother's house.
Uh huh.
Um, so my grandmother is very, very much opposite in lifestyle. Very straightforward, like you live like a structured life and like has rules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was really like once you live in chaos for your entire life as a child, like just being placed automatically into some structured environment, it's just for me it was absolutely not. Like I was not gonna take well to the rules. I wasn't about to follow them. I was searching for a way out.
Yeah. So I know you were saying that the whole thing with mom is you knew that you didn't stand a chance when you guys would fight and argue. What was that something that you held with you and you wanted to feel like the stronger person?
So yeah, like well, my goal in life, since I was a child, like it began when I was very little, was to defeat my mother. Like I couldn't like when my rages were going on for a long time as a child, I knew I was gonna lose that fight, but I would still go for it because I would be in a rage, right? Well,
Yeah.
I started getting older, and you know, like my mom would like if she felt like I was a bit too much, like her friends would get involved, like with like disciplining me, stuff like that. Like I realized as I started getting older that I could do the same. Like friends of mine I could use to my, you know what I mean? Like they could help me too in my situations. You know,
Yeah.
like and in situations where my mother has her friends like who feel like they're badass. If I get badass friends that are more badass, and I'll win. You know what I mean?
Oh wow. Okay. So it was like a
It
competition kind of.
was.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So who won that competition?
Well, I went way, way above what she ever, you know, whatever. Like everything that she's done as like in my childhood was bad, but I took it to another level that there's no words for.
Okay. You want to explain that a little?
Yeah. So, like I remember, okay, so I started like it began with my mother, right? This whole process began with my mother. But through time, like in me being in the streets because I insisted, like I ran from my grandmother's, like I decided that that's where I was going to be. You know, like I started off with like a man out of high school. You know, I was barely a freshman in high school when I started seeing a man that was out of high school, too old for me.
Wow.
But he had a house and he had all the attention of these kids in high school. He was a cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back on it, that is absolutely inappropriate. You know what I mean? Totally. That guy's a predator now that I'm older, but back then that's not how kids see it.
Yeah.
So that was my first escape. And that was a big middle finger to my mother too because she had been trying to force me to be at my grandmother's.
Mm.
Well, no time went by before my mother was almost trying to nest in the same house that this predator had me in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So she was trying to get in.
Because she'd rather be there than my grandmother's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And did that end up happening?
Yeah, well, I kicked her out, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then, so were you actually dating this older man?
Mm-hmm.
You were, okay, for a period of time or?
Yeah, like I will say that I like it ate up my high school years. You know, like like he didn't allow me to go to dances and stuff like that. Like, you know, so I remember I like rebelled and went to one dance in high school. Then I ended up getting in a fight there too and had to call him to pick me up. And like, you know, he was very physically violent and well, he's a predator. Like that's how I see him now. Back then I didn't. We
Yeah.
all thought he was like a cool dude. Like he allowed us to drink, have beer parties and all that kind of stuff at his house. And that's what we liked doing in high school. You know what I mean? So back then it was cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you don't understand those things when you're younger. If you're having fun, you just think that that person's a fun person, you
yeah.
know, and
Yeah, everybody wanted to be around him and his house and stuff like that.
how old was he?
So he was what? I would say he was at least I would say 19 or 20 and I was a freshman, so like
Wow. Okay. So well over age.
yeah.
And he already had a house, you said?
Well, he like his mother owned the house, you know?
Okay.
His mother owned the house and let him live there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like and she let him and his brother live there. So
So
his brother was older than him.
what did he do? Was he working or?
The brother, he was a heroin addict.
Okay.
And he actually used to rob the pharmaceutical trucks. So
Wow. Okay. And then the guy that you were dating at that time, what was he doing?
Didn't have a job.
Didn't have a job.
No.
So he was just home all the time, having people over.
Yeah,
sold drugs.
sold drugs or whatever else his little hustle was. I think that his mother probably gave him money too, now that I think about it. But it was a long time ago, so I don't remember all the way.
Okay. So it was that kind of the theme, were you seeing yourself attracted to older guys or bad guys or tough guys, stuff like that?
So, bad guys. And like, it was okay, so at that point in my life, right, where I found myself in a battle with this predator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to do like high school things or whatever. And we're having beer pong parties or whatever there anyways, but there was a guy who got in trouble in LA.
Mm-hmm.
He was our age and his family sent him out here to hopefully save his life because he was gangbanging, you know.
Okay.
Well, something automatically clicked between me and this guy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go for it right away, but because I didn't, you know what I mean, like really what would have happened is I would have gotten hurt like abusive wise, and I was real young, you know, so I didn't know how to handle it yet until I realized that the gangbanger could defeat the predator.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So at that point in time, that was the beginning of a really bad habit.
Okay. And that habit was?
So as I venture into doing drugs and becoming in this lifestyle, you know, like I analyze these people, these men.
Mm-hmm.
I'll end up having the attention or the relationship with this man and then end up over here, you know, this one's more powerful. This one's got, you know what I mean? This one has more reach. Like, and that became a habit. Like, as I'm like assessing my situation, like the more powerful people and you mean like the worse kind of men, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I would end up jumping higher. You
So
know?
were you progressively trying to get to a more tougher, so to speak, guy every time?
Yeah.
Or were you putting them kind of against each other also?
Yeah, okay, so I taught myself, right? This is something I learned like really young too. Women cannot beat men physically. It's not gonna happen. Like, and like if you are going to be in a battle with a man, especially like with all your emotions involved, right? if you do not have more control of your emotions than this man, then he's going to have every ability to defeat you. And in the lifestyle that I lived, that is not a good thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I learned early on, there's I will say there's more than one of them that I really did have, like, my full love towards. Like, I fully fell in love with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And gave them my all. But at the same time, because of the lifestyle that I brought myself into and that I ended up in just through the events in my life, like I had to be able to have that battle in me, like that control over my emotions, to where I'd have a fighting chance with these men. Like, my addiction became finding monsters in the street, you know?
Wow. And your defense mechanism was to just keep that wall in front of you as well, right?
Yes.
Never fall. I know you said you fell in love with one, but majority of them you
have to be like stronger emotionally than they are, because there's no way you're gonna physically be able to defeat them.
Wow. So tell me about some of the men that you did date.
Well, okay, so it's crazy because I'll start with like Manny was the one that taught me really a lot about almost everything about the game or the lifestyle that I lived, right? And he was one of the ones, like, there was no defeating him, like, through other people either. Like, I couldn't play the emotion game or the, like, any kind of head games with him, like, because there was, like, nobody that I knew that could really defeat him. Like, he was, okay, so he used to scream at me to line everybody in, like, who I had known, like, anybody who had my back, line him up and he'll come by himself, like.
Wow.
There was no defeating him.
So he would encourage you to do things like that?
Yeah. And like he also did the most harmful thing to do, like, when we would fight, like, but we could only be around each other for a good 4 or 5 days. But as soon as that fight would break out, the most heartbreaking or like the most betrayal possible in a situation that he could pull off, he would go for.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, so, like, you're not supposed to. Okay, so if you're in love with somebody and you're running the streets with them, right? So you probably, I mean, if you go sleep with their enemy and openly do it, that's like the ultimate sign of disrespect,
Okay.
Yeah, so stuff like that. And that's also like, he put a big part in me becoming more heartless as well. I will say that. He used to tell me, though, that he was eventually going to die because the way he treated people, like, he was very violent. He's constantly attacking people, humiliating them. Anything that was hilarious to him, he would do, especially because he would stay up for 3 or 4 days and there would be no like sanity to his mind left,
Yeah.
So, like, whoever was around him would become a target, basically.
And this is because of the drugs that he was doing. Okay. And what kind of drugs was he doing at that time?
Meth.
Okay. And did he get you involved with that as well?
I became involved with that, well, because my mother never really stopped doing it, I will say that, but I became involved with that I will say, just out of high school.
Okay. And getting involved with that kind of led you towards him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was he ever violent towards you?
Yes, absolutely.
How?
Huh? like he's extremely physically violent towards everybody who came across his path at some point. But with me, yes, like it was a habit though. Like there was nothing like different about that relationship than most of them. Like from the very first relationship I ever got into, like they've all been violent, like except for the last one. But
Yeah. So when he was violent with you, would he hit you and do stuff like that, or would it be more a
he had
different
a
type of
habit of
violence?
strangling. Like his thing was like he strangled girls and men. You know, like I don't know what his habit about it like came from, like, but he would literally strangle you till you pass out.
And he did that to you?
Yeah. The difference is though, like here's the thing with me, like I grew up not being able to breathe.
Okay.
Like I've suffocated. I can't even tell you how many times I've suffocated. Like too many.
And this is for medical reasons, though,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So, but like it's not as scary to me. You know what I mean? Like as it should be. Like I can almost train myself to like stop panicking. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So you go out easier.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's
Would
that's why like it wasn't even as big of a deal as it should have been with him doing that, you know.
was it still a struggle and a fight back, or did you just kind of submit?
So I taught myself a long time ago, like, I will rarely fight men back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not gonna win. Period. You fight back, you're gonna get hit harder. Like, once in a while, when I go into a full rage, I have, and I, you know, what I mean, I would, but it's not the smartest decision because there's no, especially with the men that I like chose to be in my life, you know, absolutely there is no way that I have any chance of winning that.
Yeah.
So,
And how long were you in this relationship with him?
mm, right out of high school until, we'll say, let's see, he died in, so my mom died in 2014. He died in 2013. So, and I graduated in 2009.
Hmm.
So a few years.
How did he die?
Um, that's a crazy story too because I don't know if it should be on camera, but you know,
Oh,
Larnell, his Gilbert's
okay.
mother, is married to Renee. Renee killed him.
Wow. Oh, okay. There's a tangled web
Yeah.
right there. Okay, so is that when you stopped dating him? After he passed,
Um,
obviously. I mean, were you with him until
so
then?
like okay, so he ended up kidnapping me in a situation. Not kidnap. I went to him, but like he held me hostage in this situation. Like, and he was so out of his mind, like because of whatever like funk he was in the street, like with a southerner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that like like he almost killed me that time he strangled me. I will say I like you know I remember he like I went all the way out that time like and he didn't seem like he was letting go anytime soon.
Yeah.
And he was also in a rage because he had like I don't know in some kind of fight we were in like I had blood on me so I was like I had to shower, you know, and he caught. I thought I would be slick slamming dope and hiding it. Like, so I'd slam in my legs. But I couldn't hide the bruises if I was in the shower. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So he caught that, which is another reason why he ended up with his hands around my neck. And I don't know, he kind of went way too far with it. And at that point, like, I knew I had to get like far away from him. Like, because I'm like, all right, he's not all there, like, to even realize what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to end up, even whether it's an accident or not, he's going to end up killing me.
Yeah.
So he let me go and I stayed. I stayed away from him, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy because I ended up flying to New York City with my friend who had been sent out there by her father. Um, and that kind of gave me the ability to stay distant from him. But he had he decided to venture off into the east side part of Stockton, and there's a myth that if you're not from the east side, you don't go to the east side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he started seeing another female. She's more like him. Like, her name is Tasha. She's way more like him, like violent wise. Like, as a female, like she'll fight men. I mean, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
so I was almost happy for him, like, in a way, even though I kind of knew like the area he was in was not. It's like a cursed area, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, that was our separation. I came back from New York,
Mm-hmm.
and Manny had gotten shot, I would say, a good 7 separate times in his life, if not more.
Wow.
But the last one killed him, but the one before that, he got shot by one of his friends that he was not expecting to shoot him. And, like, I was actually sober. I was trying to be sober. And I was in nursing school.
Yeah.
And I was trying my hardest to, like, get my shit together, you know? And here I am, and I barely started nursing school, and I'm dealing with this situation where he's hiding from the police in a trap, like an empty trap house, and needing me to bandage these wounds, and like he's 6 foot tall, like 200 something pounds, and I'm like trying to hold him up while he's taking a shower to wash these wounds. Like I was like overwhelmed.
No hospital. Just asking you.
He went to the hospital, and he left without permission, like before he should have left.
So I'm going to rewind just a little bit. I know you said you got into drugs and you were using methamphetamine. Mm-hmm. Is that what you were? And so when you said slamming, were you shooting meth?
Mm-hmm.
You were? Okay.
Yeah.
So you were on a different level of the meth. Did you start doing that, or did you start by smoking it, or doing that kind of stuff?
No, I started smoking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, that was just another like middle finger to my mother. Like, I couldn't wait to tell her I was slamming dope. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like I was always kind of like in a bitter battle with her.
Wow. Okay. And she was already doing that as well. Were you just saying like, "Hey, look at what you did"?
She never slammed it though.
No.
She was like, she ate it and snorted it. She was never really even a smoker, but yeah, I made a point to definitely like just defeat her, like, and show her that like her friends are not the baddest. Like, she has no power over me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And so after him, this is Manny. After Manny, did you find yourself getting involved with another bad guy?
Okay, so while Manny was in prison, one of the times that he went to prison, I got involved with Jose. Not even it wasn't even a purposeful thing. Actually, like, he seen me and decided that he wanted, like, me in his presence or whatever, but I really had no idea who he was. But he made his way, like, I don't know, like, investigating who I was, where my mom's house was, and where I hung out and stuff like that. And I really was hesitant to be around him because he was dating another female who had, who was friends with one of my best friends at the time. What happened was, like, it's been a long time, so I'm trying to remember all the exact things that happened, but I know she pissed me off because she assumed that I was going for all these attempts that he was making towards me, which I wasn't, but she started threatening my mother's house and my sister's. And so I was like, I was hot. I was pissed. So I'm like, okay, like, and then, like, that's another thing about me, especially back in the day. Like once I get triggered and I'm like I sense a war and I have that rage coming on, like coming
Yeah.
on, like it's just not a good thing. So here I have this guy trying to follow me around and figure out where I live and what I'm doing. Like he wants my presence this bad. I'm like, this could either be a really good thing or a really bad thing, because he's very known to be a shooter, very known to be scary. Everybody's got this fear, about having him around.
Is he just a neighborhood guy or a gangbanger or?
Um, so he was gang affiliated. I don't know if he was still active or had dropped out or what it was, but like he was somebody's, okay, he's Big Lips, a man that's known as Big Lip, who is really brutally violent towards women in a lot of his life for a lot of reasons. But
Mm-hmm.
like I knew Big Lip from my a time where my younger days, like out of the trap houses and like cartel houses, stuff like that. But he always had a different circle every time I hear about him. But I stayed away from him because he was kind of violent towards women,
Yeah.
Well, I figure out Jose is his nephew.
Huh.
And I'm like, what is, I don't know what he wants with me, but like he ended up just wanting me in his presence. So like I seen that as like, what I mean, like a way of like, what can I use this for my own good? You know what I mean? For anything I need. But like
Yeah.
I was also slumming dope at the time. So like I was really in a different world, you know? It took me a while to even start to consider having any kind of feelings towards him. And at the very point I did, I know, like I allowed myself to go with him for whatever reason. I don't remember why, but we were in his ex-girlfriend's vehicle, and we pulled up on a house in Stockton, and he had a gun pulled on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was another one with a temper. And I remember the look in his face, like, and he told me, he's like, watch this. So like a couple hours go by. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I told him to drop me off, right?
Yeah.
I have him drop me off at my mom's house, and a little more time went by, and whatever he was going to do, I didn't want any involvement in. But he ended up picking me up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, like, okay, so what, I don't exactly remember the activities that we had done. Like there wasn't too much going on before we had hit Wilson Way. And
This is in Stockton.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we're like, and he's looking for his uncle, which is Big Lip. And we went to go pull into a motel, like, because like Wilson Way is ran by a lot of his family,
Mm-hmm.
and those are like prostitutes. They have like, and like Jose, I will say this, he was known to so if a prostitute is in a situation with a man making her money, right?
Yeah.
And the man steps out like of line by doing something out of like just not what he's supposed to do, not pay her, do something that's like perverted or wrong or violent, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
That's when Jose would step in and do something back. That's what he was known for, violently, I guess.
Yeah.
So we pull into this little motel, and I know he's looking for his uncle. And that's when CHP was, I don't know, they were like, they were given, I don't know, they were told to be in Stockton. I don't know why. Like the crime rate was really high or whatever at the time, you know?
Okay.
So, boom, CHP lights us up, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like, I looked at him, like, and he looked at me, and I'm like, whatever you have on you, just give it to me. You know, I'm on, just give it.
Yeah.
Give it. He's like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, hands me his dope,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, and he has a gun underneath the seat.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck, just give it to me, right? He's all, no. Boom. Takes off.
Hmm.
And the cop chases us. CHP officers. There's 2 in one car. Like, we were in, like, a hoopty car. You know what I mean? Like, and we were both, like, I was 18, he was 19. I really don't know how well I don't think he was the greatest driver, but,
Yeah.
he went to go turn, like, on Martin Luther King, and we spun out of control. And, we hit the fence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'll never forget, like, we had enough time, like, I sat with my knees up because I figured I was going to fly through this windshield. Like, I don't know why I had this idea I was going to fly through the windshield. So I sat in the chair with my knees up, right? Mm-hmm. And we hit this fence, the racetrack fence. And we had enough time to, like, bounce, like, forward and backwards.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. He looked at me. And boom, a bullet went through his head.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, did he pull the gun out?
No, absolutely not. We didn't have enough time to even really, like, I know, like, I feel like I just looked at him to see, like, because we had just made impact and, like, boom, smacked our heads on the back of the seats. Like, I really just, like, looked at him because I didn't know what to do next or even know if he was okay. Like, instinctively, I looked at him. And I think instinctively he looked over to check on me. It's like, I'll never forget, like, the second he looked over, like, boom, the bullet went straight through. Like,
wow.
Yeah. And I watched life leave his eyes, literally.
So he was struck in the head at that time?
Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm pretty sure he was probably struck other times I don't know about. At that point, because, like, of adrenaline and, like, just shock, what I had just seen, like, I didn't even realize I had been shot. They sprayed up. They unloaded their clips on the car.
Wow. So you were shot?
Mm-hmm.
How many times?
4.
4 times. Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you get hit?
So I got hit in the arm twice, but one of the bullets went through my arm, through my side, hit my lung, not this lung, hit this lung. Like, I guess it bounced, and it stopped like a millimeter or 2 away from my heart.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I have a bullet in my leg, and I have the last one took a chunk out of my ankle all the way to the bone, because they're like 40 caliber bullets, and I was like 90 pounds. Yeah.
So what happens after that? Do you remember, did they come up to the car?
So, not, well, like, I specifically remember, like, I had seen that bullet go through his head and life leave his eyes. Like, there's no explanation to how someone's eyes change when life leaves, you know? But that stuck with me. So I jumped out of the car, and I threw my hands up, and I was like, I don't got nothing on me. And at that point, I realized, like, as I'm trying to scream, I don't have nothing on me. Like, I realized, like, as I'm trying to take a breath, like, I almost start to gargle. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, you know, like, I'm like, oh, God, I can't breathe. Like, and then I look down, and I was wearing a white long sleeve shirt, and my shirt was red, you know. So, And then, like, the first thing I heard after that was, get the fuck on the ground.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So at that point, do you know if they knew there was a gun in the car, or had they had prior knowledge, or?
So, I don't know what they had prior knowledge of. Like, they had prior knowledge. They let me know, like, way down the road that they had prior knowledge of who he was and what he was into.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as knowing that that gun was in the car, right, then absolutely not. They didn't have any confirmation of that. He didn't pull it on him or anything like that, you know?
Got it. Okay. So what was the process after all of that happens, the recovery for you and everything else?
Well, like, I almost died on the ground. I know that, but, like, because it took a long time for the ambulance to get there, and I woke up in the hospital. My lung had collapsed. Like, they had to, like, reinflate it. I was just angry, you know, like, but I remember, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like those police officers, right? Like, because I remember them standing above me, like, because I could have been a hostage. They didn't know that. They didn't know anything about me, you know? And they threw me in cuffs, and, like, I was drowning in my blood on the ground for quite some time.
Yeah. Did
Right.
you, when you came out of the car, did you yell help, or, because I know you said it, you said, hey, I don't have
I
anything.
said, I don't got nothing on me, you know,
Okay.
like, because, like, you know, they had been, off top, my instinct, like, they're shooting, like, cops shoot at what? They shoot at, like, anything that's against their enemy, like, you know what I mean? If someone's trying to hurt the police, they're gonna come for you back, like that, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, I don't have nothing on me, it's like, to let them know, like, I'm not a, you know what I mean? I'm not your enemy, like, don't, like,
Yeah.
stop making me your target, you know, like, I wanted them to know, like, that there's no threat to you, so
Yeah.
stop shooting, you know, like,
Absolutely.
and so they told me to get the fuck on the ground, and they threw me on the ground, like, and I just, like, I was drowning in my blood. I was drowning in my blood,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was fighting really hard to be able to, like, sit up. I was trying to sit up, like, and I was gargling, and, like, they're screaming at me. I don't really even remember the words they were screaming, but I just remember, like, feeling like I was doomed to die, you know?
Were you telling them that at that time too? Like, I
I
can't
know
breathe?
I was screaming that I can't breathe,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And, like, they, I don't know, they didn't seem to care. So the ambulance pulls up, and I'll never forget, like, the paramedic, he started, like, I heard his footsteps because I was on the ground, you know, like, he's all, take the fucking cuffs off her, take the fucking cuffs off her.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He took it. I remember the cop's hands taking the cuffs off of me. And, like, my instinct, for whatever reason, like, I almost went into, like, that fight or flight mode, like, where I'm just, like, I feel like I'm being murdered, like, you know? So, like, I
Yeah.
was kind of, like, automatically violent towards the paramedic a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, like, I remember him screaming at me. He's like, I can't save your fucking life unless you calm the fuck down, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and at that point, like, just his words saying that, like, I let go. Like, I'm like, I felt like I could, like, relax.
Yeah.
And I went out from that point.
So obviously, I know as law enforcement side, right? If there's an officer involved type shooting, it sounds harsh, or it seems harsh to think about you're going to handcuff somebody that's been shot,
Yeah.
but that's a thing that happens on a regular basis, and for the reason of some people act like they're hurt
Yeah.
until you get close, and officers have been shot approaching to try to help that person.
Yeah.
So that's where that fear comes in, you know. It doesn't look great, you know. I will say that it doesn't look great when you got somebody such as yourself who really wasn't trying to hurt the police.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they don't know that.
Yeah.
Nobody could know that but you.
Yeah.
but it doesn't look good, and it doesn't, it doesn't give you comfort knowing that, their first reaction to you, you're thinking you're dying, and they're going, okay, turn over, we're going to put you in handcuffs now. That's a horrible feeling. That's gotta be a horrible feeling.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. So, how at the end of all of that, what injuries did you receive from all of that?
Um, just like, well, like, it's crazy. Like, I'll never forget. I woke up to this doctor. He's at the end of my bed, and he was telling me, he's like, you should probably go to church. He's like, that the car you were in got shot up a lot of times. You only got hit 4, and one of these bullets was very close to your heart. And he's like, and I should have possibly, I'm not sure, but my first idea was to crack your rib cage open and take that bullet out. He's like, but you lived through something like that. I'm thinking that bullet's going to find its way out. So I'm going to go ahead and let it do its thing. And he just basically told me he thinks I should go to church because it's a
Wow.
miracle that I'm alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was crazy. That bullet that was next to my heart literally pushed itself out the other side of me. Like, birthed itself out, fell out of my side.
Out of your side?
Out of my side, it pushed itself out. Like, literally, like, little by little, it traveled to my side. And, like, I could always, I remember it bothered me because I always have a bra on right here. And, like, the strap would be right over. Like, it literally pushed itself out till it broke the skin and came out by itself.
Wow. I've never heard of anything like that before.
It's crazy. Huh?
That is insane. Wow. So when it came out, did you have to go back to the hospital and let them know that happened, or was it just
I
like,
was not good at that.
no?
No.
Wow.
No. Like, I will say that, like,
You're tougher than me.
they let, so they said it was a miraculous recovery. That I literally got out of the hospital being shot 4 times. Like, I got out within a week.
And one of your lungs was punctured at that time.
Mm-hmm. They had to reinflate it or whatever. It's like a crazy process. Like, they basically reinflate your lung. It hurts. But, I ended up trying to go home. Well, my mom wanted me to come home.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta remember how she lives. Like, my mom plus she was a hoarder. And, like, at that point, like, my dad had gotten rid of all her cats, but she had, like, 15 dogs at that point. So, I made it, like, I would say, like, 2 hours at her house, probably, before I was like, nah, I'm out of here.
Before you remembered why you left in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And then, what was did you have any type of connection with his family? I know you said you knew his uncle. What was that like dealing with them afterward?
So, like, I'll never forget, like, I mean, his family, they're all over the place, and, like, but, I mean, they were really mourning him. Like, I'll never forget, like, meeting up with his uncle, and he told me, like, he's like, those cops were probably, they were in the wrong for shooting you and how that happened, and if you want to put a lawsuit against them, I fully support you, but if Jose's, like, mother or anybody on our side try to do something like that and think that they're going to get any money out of it, he's like, I'm going to full-blown be against it. I'll fight it. Because he's like, he told me that he was raising Jose, had him doing good at school, had him, you know what I mean? Like, he was on his way to be a better person in his eyes. And his mother took him out of his uncle's home so she could care for him, like, with her boyfriend who was violent and out of, you know what I mean? Like, and basically their lifestyles and the things that they were involved with created this monster that Jose became. And he told me that he will fully go against anything that they try to get out of this lawsuit because he blames them.
Wow. So that was the plan was to sue the law
Well,
enforcement?
that was like not, I mean, not mine right away. I had a lawyer come visit me while I was in the hospital who wanted my case, which is strange to me. And I was a kid, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, and I didn't understand it or like know what could come of it. But my parents were pissed at the time, you know. So I just let the random lawyer that came to my hospital room take my case, see what comes of it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I almost think like, okay, so you know there's a statute of limitations, like when you're gonna sue a police officer or like something happens with the police, there's a statute of like limitations that you only have so long to file a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this guy, he sends like something to my mom's house and says, boom, he drops my case right before the statute of limitations is up. So like, and my mom opens the letter. She's like, he did it on fucking purpose. Da da da. Like she's pissed. So she made me go to the John Burris office and like give them my story and let them know what happened. And he told me he wants my case
Hmm.
full blown because CHP said that they shot us because we tried to run them over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was their story. But
And
like,
from
if you
what you
watch like,
remember from it, that didn't happen, is what you're saying?
absolutely not. Like, and even if you see, like, you know how they interviewed that guy in that little news clip? He said there was like, he said you hear the first impact and it's like 3 or 4 seconds go by and you hear them unload their guns. Like, we really did not have time to try to run them over. But like, that was what they said we did. So
Wow.
that's the reason they could do that, you know?
Yeah. So did they, back then, what year was this again, you said?
2011.
2011. Uh, so there might have been, there was no cameras at
Oh,
that
no,
time,
back
nothing
then,
like that?
no,
No?
not,
Okay.
no, not back then.
So
They
I know
didn't have
some
none of.
agencies actually did have some type of cameras on their vehicles, at least.
Yeah, back then the Stockton and CHP and like, they had so much crime back then too. Like there's so much going on. No.
So did you follow through with the lawsuit?
Um. So they let me know like, okay, so suing the police is not exactly, I guess, like I was a kid and I was a crazy kid, and at that point I had nothing. Like my rage became for the police. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I literally like watched this. You mean this person who I just started caring about, really like caring about. I watched life leave his eyes, like, which was very traumatizing. Like,
Yeah.
because I had seen a lot of violence, but not quite to that extent, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I agreed to go through with it. Like my mother really wanted me to do it because I would have never ended up at the Burris office or anything like that if she wasn't like, you know, doing those steps for me because I was just a wild child.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me like he did not want me to stay in Stockton. Like he did not want. He's like, if you're gonna sue the police, you're not gonna. I mean, it's you got to do certain things. Like it's not a good idea to be here and like I absolutely didn't follow none of his rules. Like, and I became absolutely like worse in every way. Like, in like my rages and my anger and like me trying not to feel
Mm-hmm.
like I was literally every time I went to sleep, like I was seeing Jose's like bloody face and like life leaving his eyes. Like every time I fell asleep, it would like
Wow.
boom right there, you know. So I was just like not well.
Is that something that you deal with still?
Um, I've had like so much trauma like since then. Like that's really like you know what I mean. Like I guess I like moved on from that.
Okay.
Honestly, you know what I mean. But that it haunted me for quite a long time.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's got to be hard to see for somebody that you care about.
Like still, if I like when I see his picture, you know what I mean. Like like my memory will automatically like get a glimpse of that, like life leaving his eyes, you know?
Yeah. Um, and then, so after that, or you're still just in the streets hanging around and
Well, yeah, I I ran harder, like completely harder, like got way worse. Like I was just an angry person, like, and I ended up catching a well, like they really couldn't pin it on me, but they intentionally gave me a charge of attempted murder on an officer in a case they could, you know. Like I
uh,
was just you mean I was completely at that point against police. Like I fucking hated them.
yeah.
Like they were full blown the enemy at that point in my life.
So tell me about that case. How did that come about?
So like as I'm like here I am like dating violent men here and there, like, and I end up with one that like in that was another point in my life. I was like because I went in and out of areas where I would be slammed up. I'd catch myself like being too far into it and make myself stop doing it, you know, and like I was pretty heavy into it at this point. And at one of the trap houses me and this guy were at, I had basically like let him know like I'm leaving because I need to go make some money. We got nothing here. I need to go do something. I gotta go, you know.
Yeah.
And there was other people in the house, but they had themselves locked in other rooms. And he went into a rage, like he started breaking everything, all the furniture, anything he could get his like hands on, he was breaking, right?
Yeah.
He was like, and I forget what he was wanted for, but he was wanted for something. And I guess one of the couples that were locked in the room, like, were scared for my life. Really, I just sat on a piece of furniture in the middle of the room though, and like watched him like nonchalantly, like as I sat there, watched him just destroy the whole house, destroy it.
Yeah.
Well, these people over here got scared and called the police on him. They realized who, you know what I mean? They must have told the cops his name, and they realized, oh, he's big time wanted. So next thing I know, the house is getting hit really hard, and you hear like the banging, like, police, open the door. You start hearing the dogs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him like, what are you gonna do? Because you're going to jail. You know what I mean, for quite a while. And he's like, fuck, you know. So like he decides he's gonna go underneath the house, right? Because there's like this little square area you can go down. It's like hidden in one of the way back closets. And I'm like, go, run, go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I pushed all these furniture boxes, like all this stuff, like as much stuff as I could find as fast as I could. Like I pushed on top of this like entrance to the underneath of the house. So maybe they wouldn't see it, you know?
Yeah.
So I hear them, they're starting to kick in the door, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like it's crazy because like the house is kind of big, like, so we're back in like this huge back bedroom area, and like I have the door locked, and I'm like, I kind of just like lay on the ground, like to see, like, kind of like calculate how many of them there are, like what's about to happen. And like they had these like new things where they drop on the floor, like lights up the floor, you know what I mean? Like, I
Wow.
don't know what the hell they are, but they're kind of cool. Like, and it goes beep beep, like,
Yeah.
and they're like lighting up the whole floor. And I just remember the sergeant, he was screaming, like, I forget his name, but he was like screaming, "Where the fuck you at?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, and I was like, I could hear a rage in his voice too, because I was like thinking about answering him, like, because I know they're gonna see me, they're gonna run into me, like they're gonna kick in this door too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm all, hey, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's all, the fuck? Where are you? Like, and I'm like, hey. I'm like, if you pull your dog back, I'll open the door, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, just open this fucking door now, you know, just screaming at me. Like, I was like, all right, just don't let your dog bite me. And so I opened the door for him, and like he starts screaming at me, where the fuck is he? Where is he? And in this house, it's like out in the east or the south, like it was like some part of Stockton that's really hood. I don't even remember it anymore, but like it just so happens like the back wall was like, it looks like a damn prison wall. It's
Yeah.
like 9 feet high. You know what I mean? So I was like, I think he went out the back door. Pretty sure, but I was scared. You guys traumatized me. So I fucking just, I started panicking and stopped paying attention. He's like, okay, yeah, right. Because they all know me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's like, yeah, fucking right, all right. Where the fuck is he, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I think he went that way. And we go out the sliding glass door, and like they're all running to the back fence, and like the sergeant's like standing there, and he's looking at this wall, and I'm watching him look at this wall, and he's like, nah, Shauna, he did not fucking hop that fence. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I don't know. He ran back here. Like, he's like, research this fucking house, right? So, boom. They start pulling out everything out of the fucking closet area. And they find the little hole area, right?
Yeah.
And they had this huge, like, wolf German Shepherd looking, like, it was like a German Shepherd, but it's bigger than anyone that I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And they decided to send him down there, you know? And,
Wow.
like, I'll never forget, like, standing next to the sergeant, like, as we hear this dog and that person fighting the man I was seeing, right?
Yeah.
You could hear him, like, I don't know, like, you could hear both sides of it, like, it didn't sound good on either side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you could hear it, like, it was a fight. And here the officers are like running around the house, saying, like, yelling 9 and like whistling and stuff like that. And I'm like, I told the sergeant, I'm like, dude, you gotta get your dog. He's like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up, Shauna. I'm like, just saying, you gotta get your dog. Like, and they tried to send another dog down there. And for whatever reason, that dog did not really want to go down into the area, like, it was a trip. It was like, I don't know. It was scary for all the officers and me. You know what I mean? Because none of us knew what was happening down there, but you could hear it, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So some time went by, and the dog finally comes out, and we're all standing there, and like it came out all normal, like it was fine, and then all of a sudden, like, it made a weird move, and it's like blood splattered from its neck, like all over the sidewalk and everything around it.
Wow.
And the sergeant started screaming, he saw my fucking dog, like, and I was like, ooh. And he's like, put that bitch in my fucking car. Like, me, I'm like, dude. And then I looked at the cop, I'm like, can I just go with you? And he's like, no. Like, thought he was gonna, I thought the sergeant was gonna kill me, to be honest with you. Yeah. But yeah, they, even though I didn't do anything to that animal myself, like, they still try to hit me with attempted murder on an officer for that.
For the dog, and the dog
For
lived?
the dog, because I mean the dog lived, thank God.
Lived. Okay.
But, when they got him, they hit him with that and me, but they charged me with it too. So that's not really good for a lawsuit if you're gonna.
So did he get bit also?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fight. They had quite a fight underneath there, I guess. You know, I really didn't get to see him, like when they pulled him out, like, because I was in the back of the sergeant's car.
Yeah.
Like, like it was like 105 degrees that day, and like I was in the back of that car for like, a long time.
Yeah. And this is in the middle of the day, or was it? It was in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy. So this is another guy. How much time did he get for that?
Yeah, well, like I think he was like, I know he did it quite a few years. Like, you know, like I was like in the process of leaving him at the time, so like I didn't really like, you know, what I mean, we didn't end up staying together through that. Like, because there have been men I've been with that have held down,
Mm-hmm.
but that was a situation that I wasn't gonna do that in, you know.
Yeah.
So I think like I know he did quite a few years though.
Yeah. And then did you move on to a different bad guy after that, or did you kind of say, you know what, I'm gonna?
No, yeah, I did. That point, I think after that man, I ended up getting pregnant with my first child.
Oh, okay. And how long ago was that? What year was this?
So 2015.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
And who was this person?
So Byron is my son's father,
Okay.
and you know, like to be honest with you, I met him. He was the drug connect, right? And I remember so I started hanging out with him because when Manny was alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing like vengeful things towards me and stuff like that. Like he was literally one of the only ones who didn't show fear, like in pissing Manny off. Like,
Yeah.
so I was vengeful, you know what I mean? So, him not having fear in Manny sparked my attention. And him being in the connect also didn't, you know what I mean? I'm sure that probably helped out a lot too. But yeah, so I don't know, I ended up seeing him on and off, and I ended up pregnant by him.
Okay. Boy or girl?
Okay, so the first time that I ended up pregnant by him, like I did not have it because like he's a dope connect. Like we had a lot of things we did not get along about. Like I did not get along with this man.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of ways. So when I was pregnant the first time, you know, he was honestly better friends with my mother than he was me.
Wow.
That's the thing about it, was like who was I always at battle with was my mother,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So the first time I got pregnant, I guess they were both planning all these baby ideas and these different like I don't know, like different plans that they had. But meanwhile, me and him are at funk. I'm running the streets. I have, you know what I mean, like I'm on drugs. Like I have all these chaotic situations going on, and I'm like, a baby is not fit for this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this
Yeah.
is not.
You weren't ready to bring somebody
So
into the world.
I didn't have it, and then my mother ended up abruptly like dying. Like she wasn't really, I mean, we were not expecting it. She ended up getting a blood clot in her leg, got her leg cut off. They took a piece of her lung out. Her body couldn't take it. Like she succumbed to her injuries, or her body. You know what I mean? Like your body can only take so many like I guess you'd call them injuries, but you know, like taking a piece of your lung, cutting your leg off, like stuff like that. Like those are like
major things.
major
Yeah,
things,
absolutely.
you know. So she
So she didn't survive those things.
yeah, so she did not survive those things, and I ended up pregnant again right after that. Was I mourning my mother? Absolutely. And I remember how upset she was with me about not having the first one. And like I had to be the strong one in that situation. My little sisters were like starting to branch off and become very much like they're becoming like me, basically. I'll say that,
Yeah.
And like that was just like about to make it so much worse.
When you say they were becoming like you, what do you mean?
Well, they're like they're venturing off and using drugs, trying drugs. They're
Both of your sisters?
Yeah, and they were
Okay.
starting to like rebel, like very hardcore rebel.
Mm-hmm. And how old are they at this time?
So, when I was 18, Jesse would have been 16.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Tiffany's
5-year difference, right?
yeah, 5 years
Yeah.
younger than that, and yeah, and that's another another battle I had with my mother as well, because my one of my younger sisters started becoming addicted to heroin,
Wow.
and
The oldest of the two?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and me and my mother shared drug connects. Some of our drug connects were the same connects.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them decided that they could give my sister heroin, have her hanging out there, nodding out there.
Yeah.
She's not 18, and like she's nodding out as a 16-year-old at
Wow.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
So like in my ways of life at that time, and my anger towards my mother, I basically gave her the possibility of like joining teams with me on going after this connect,
Mm-hmm.
doing something about it, because that's like absolutely not okay.
Yeah.
And my mother went against me on it.
Really?
Yeah, like, and I get it, like that's somebody who I got a lot of money from myself, just like because of his gambling habits, like, and I got free drugs from, or damn near free drugs from myself. But like, when it came to situations like that, like I had like a higher value for my sister than I do those things. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you feel like mom was more concerned with getting free drugs than she was
absolutely.
making sure your sister was taken care of? Wow. Okay. So it's kind of a strange question, but you brought it up that you guys had the same connect. Did you and mom ever use drugs together?
Yes.
You did. Wow. Okay. And what was that experience like?
Well, I mean, like, I have to go way back for this, because we started using drugs together when I was really young. Like, but she uses them differently than me. Like, and I think we used to fight because like I liked smoking it, and she'd go in my room and steal my pipes to like snort my drugs out of, to make lines out of my drugs. But like we'd get along long enough to use together, but after that we just did not last long. Like,
Yeah.
it was always a battle. It would become a battle if it wasn't won right away.
That's wild. And where is dad during this? When I know we're going kind of backwards, but where is dad during this time that you guys are using drugs together?
So my dad, okay, but like when he told my mother that he was gonna pitch a tent, he was not lying. They had lost everything, and my mom had the house that she had at that time
Mm-hmm.
because my grandmother bought it for her to take care of us kids in.
Got it.
My father was, I don't know, like he was off. He had moved up the hill and past I forget what it's called. Blue Ridge or something, but it was like a trailer park. But like I was very distant from my father.
Yeah.
Like if he came to town, like at my mother's house, like there's times he would decide to have her back for whatever reason. He loved my mother, but like I had reached a point where there was no fear in taking on that battle. Like, I would just be like, Dad,
Yeah.
don't get yourself hurt, please.
Mm. So, what's your relationship like with your first child?
Gunner,
Yeah.
I lost him to CPS.
Lost him. Okay.
I lost him to CPS. I have to be thankful in a way that it happened, how it happened. If I did not lose him to CPS when I did, he would have been there when I got shot in the face.
Wow. So what happened with that? That was a bombshell.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you got shot in the face. This is recent, or how long ago was this?
Let's see. It's been 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Wow, so recent. That's pretty recent.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what? How did all that happen? Is this like a police story again, or is this something else?
No. It's Kevin. Kevin shot me in the face. The one that. Okay. So, I got in a relationship with him.
Is this after Barry?
After who?
Barry, you said? Did you date somebody named Barry?
Byron.
Byron, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting old.
So Byron, yeah. So, and I was having, like, I had a lot of problems with Byron. Once Byron decided he was in love with me, like, gosh, he got me evicted out of my apartment. He's always slashing my tires, always breaking my windshield. Like, he is literally, he kidnapped me, taking me to vineyards, and, like, just everything under the sun he has done to me. Like, in this,
Physically violent as well?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
And like, I really believe he has some psychological differences than a lot of people. Like, he's not, I don't know, he's got his brain structured different or something. Like,
Okay.
and because he, like, there's times that he's gonna act like that, and then there's times he's completely, like, in his own world, far away. Like, and I was sick of it. I didn't want nothing to do with it no more.
Yeah.
Like, he was my first child's father. Like, I, of course, like, automatically, because of that, have love for him, but I was not interested in having a relationship after, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All those experiences with him. So,
Was he not trying to step up and take your son or fight for your son at that time?
no, it's not that he wouldn't, like, fight for him. I won't say that. Like, but he doesn't know how to live a structured life, like
Got
at
it.
all. Like, I think the most structure he's had is probably in prison. But, like, I mean, he knows how to hustle and, like, get his own place and, like,
Yeah.
like, stuff like that. But it's all through, like, selling dope and
Yeah.
that kind of lifestyle. Like, he hasn't ventured off into, like, doing anything, like, normal or structured in life that, like, he can, like, supply or provide for a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in there's been times that he's had a place for Gunner, but it doesn't last long.
Yeah.
Like, so the person that ends up taking Gunner, like, or caring for Gunner, has always been his sister. His sister's the responsible one, always has been.
Got it. And have you had any contact with your son?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, like, I had to absolutely earn it back, but I had a heavy battle on my hands, and I lost. I really did, but I have to, like, I have to look at it like God had his plan,
Mm-hmm.
and it happened how it was meant to happen. And I'm just thankful that I get to have him in my life and experience, like, his life events, from somewhere close, and instead of being completely separate.
Yeah. And how's he doing?
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good. And Gunner's autistic, but he's made a lot of progress, which I'm very, very proud of him for.
Great.
Yeah.
And then after Byron, you end up with Kevin?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and Byron's other baby's mom, he had a baby with another girl named Nicole. She ended up asking Kevin to, like have my back in a situation that I was dealing with Byron, because Byron would not stalk her and be a psychopath like in a way he was with me towards her, and she had his kid too. Like he just had it out for me, and like it was like endless. He would go away, come back, go away, come back, go away, come back. But like there was no end to it. Like we were not gonna be together. If I even attempted to pretend like I was gonna be with him, we'd last maybe a few days.
Yeah.
And it was just not good for Gunner, and it was not good for anybody.
Yeah.
So here comes Kevin, and that is by far the most psychopathic person I have ever met or been with, for sure.
Wow. And why do you say that?
Um,
What about him makes him seem psychopathic to you?
he's an extremely violent person. Extremely violent person. Like, I'm not the only person he's shot in his life, but I can't like even use that as an example, because Gunner's father shot plenty of people. Plenty of my exes have shot people, but Kevin is a different type of person. Like, he is constantly like doing the most. Like, his life, he has no regards to it. Like, when he's in his rages, like, he takes everything like to like a crazy level, like exceptionally fast. Like, he's not a normal person. He's
Okay.
not.
So tell me how the beginning of that relationship goes. What makes you kind of did you fall in love with this guy?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I guess like like I I have that like addiction to that like type of guy, and that's exactly what he was to another level. But at first like everything was lovey-dovey, like super lovey-dovey. And it was until it wasn't. Like, I guess like where did it even start? I'm trying to, like, I block a lot of things out too, like, because I guess that's a way of dealing with trauma. So I'm trying to make myself remember those times.
Yeah.
But let's see here. Like, I remember not being allowed to like leave him in any way, right? Like, he has a like this bully personality. Like, he's taking everybody's belongings around him. Like, like people are just giving him stuff, so like he doesn't get angry, or like to keep him happy, like like. And he's just automatically like super violent and fast about it, like to where everybody around him is constantly on edge, you
Mm.
know
Yeah.
like. And it almost makes him mad, because he's looking for a way to be violent, and everybody's so afraid of him. Like, they're like walking on like like ice, and like
Yeah.
tippy toes around him, like. And
So he
it
was constantly looking for confrontation
constantly,
somewhere. Okay.
yes, like looking for a reason.
Did he use you to create those confrontations?
Absolutely.
How did he do that?
So like, okay, like with one of his best friend, I mean, like, me and him were, because of his his ways, right? There's times like we'd end up in jail because of he's gotten into some kind of rage with our domestic or whatever. But like, he'd be ordering his friends to like do certain things, like, um escort me while he's in jail, escort me to the court and escort me back to the house that he wants me at, you know, like.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like, one of his best friends, like, didn't have the car he was supposed to have, like, and so he was scared not to try to pick me up from court to take me where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So he picked me up. He tried to pick me up on a motorcycle, and I was like, I remember looking at him like, I'm gonna get a ride with my homegirl over here. You know what I mean? Like, I've been, because I didn't know where you were, so I just got a different ride. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I had my own car, like, and he had cars, so I don't know why the hell I even allowed it to be like that. But he found out, like, his friend was gonna pick me up on the motorcycle, which mean I have to sit on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that was, like, his best friend, and all of a sudden he decided he was gonna take his life, you know, like, he didn't end up, luckily he didn't get that opportunity, but, like, that was his full, like, plan
Wow.
to do.
He told you this, or did he
Yeah.
threaten him as well?
Yeah, he went after him.
Wow.
Yeah, full blown went after him. Another time is, so back in the day, he ended up in, like, some gang war, some argument with somebody at a party, and he actually was shot in the face, right, by somebody. I knew who this was because I fought his sister back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that person got out of prison, and Kevin found out, like, he was doing those bike marathons, like, in Stockton, like, where, like, there's, like, I don't know, it looks like 200 people riding a bike on bicycles together and doing different, like, routes and stops and stuff,
Okay.
you know? And, like, I remember, like, fighting with Kevin because he was full on, like, I'm killing him now. Like, I'm gonna find, like, I'm arguing with him, like, how are you going to take his life when he's riding a fucking bicycle with 200 people? Like, how are you going to catch him by himself? What if you hit a kid? I'm all, do you not give a fuck? Like, you know, like, and he's like, you're supposed to just fucking ride with me. You're supposed to, like, but we're literally stalking this, like, group of bicycle people, like.
So was he thinking about running this guy over on his bike,
or gonna
or
shoot
just
him?
Wow. Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? He was gonna murder him.
And he
like,
wants you to go with him.
Yeah, yes, always, because, like, you know, like, I guess it was recognizable that I was never gonna work with police, like, and that I wasn't a fan of police. So, like, me worrying about me being a snitch, and, like, you know what I mean, like, the fact that I've, you know, like, for people that I care about, I'm loyal to, and I've taken charges for before.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he recognized that and used it to his full, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
He wanted that for himself. And I was in jail multiple times for him, and I'm still dealing with charges that I took for him to this day.
Wow. So he never got to him, though?
Huh?
He never got to his friend, though? He never got to him and
no,
hurt
like,
him
to be
in any
honest
way?
with you, I feel like if I wasn't there making his little plans, like, difficult, like, basically fighting it, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he probably would have pulled off that shooting that night. Like,
Wow.
I know, so he's just did a 9-year bid for some other violent event he had done before we got together, but I know, like.
So he had already done prison time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was he on parole, or was he anything like that?
I mean, he never really had to check in or anything. I don't know how he wouldn't have been on parole, but, I mean, he's got strikes, like, and stuff like that. That's why.
And was he in prison for violent crimes, or was it something different?
Yeah, I know it was for, and I'm not the first female he shot either.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to have you, I know this is tough to talk about, I'm sure, especially since it wasn't even that long ago. I want you to kind of walk me through the events leading up to that day or that night.
Kevin was the first man to figure out my main ultimate weakness. That was my little sister. The I had made the decision to leave him and fight him and leave him and fight him. So like my sister like was the weapon he used to get me to come back again. And you know, I had at that point I was so done, but I was drinking 100 proof alcohol all day. I was slamming dope behind his back. Like I was just trying to feel nothing because the amount of violence and like abuse and just everything under the sun that I had been subjected to, I was really done. And
Now, when he used your sister as, your to against you, was he threatening like violence against her, or was he threatening to get her deeper into drugs, or?
no, he didn't really have to do that. Like he let me know he had her, like, and the things that he was involved with and the things that he did and had in just in his personality alone, like I knew like it'll be traumatizing to my sister. Like
Yeah,
even in a normal addict, a normal criminal, like it's not something that I wanted her subjected to. Like, and it wouldn't be right to have her subjected to it, like, because she only like had him as a threat because of me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like there was only a path crossed right there because of me, you know?
got it.
So, another thing that I have refused to put up with is like from men, if you're with me and you're gonna be disloyal, I'm gonna be disloyal back to you, or I'm gonna leave you, whichever I decide. But with Kevin, he thought that he could be disloyal and have everybody afraid of him to a point, like even the girl he was being disloyal with.
Mm.
I had confronted her several times, like, and told her, like, look, you can have him. Just tell me the truth.
Yeah,
And here I have a few people who have, like, let me know really what's going on. And I can't tell him that I know because he's automatically going to, like, force it out, like, as far as how I know. And, like, he'll figure out who told me and go hurt them, you
oh,
know?
yeah,
So, like, that's another thing, like that was another battle I had been facing as well. So that day, well, it was a good week, like that he had gotten me back using my sister. Like I was getting beat up. He was falling asleep, because he refused. If I left, he wouldn't sleep the whole time I was gone. Like he'd lose his voice and like he'd be on another level of psychopathic. So I remember like he would sleep, wake up, beat me up, and go back to sleep.
when you say beat me up, what do you mean by beat you up? Meaning like he would hit you here and there, or he would really like beat you up?
No, I mean, like at that point, like in that experience by itself, like he would just hit me a few times,
Mm.
smack me around, like scream at me and let me know I'm not allowed to go nowhere, fall back out.
Yeah. Was he punching you like he would punch a man, or was he backhanding with the open hand, or
I mean, he's done it all. Like,
done it
but at
all?
that point, I'm trying to remember because like I was drinking a lot, and I was trying to numb myself to the fullest possible ability I had. So like and I've been beat up by men my whole life, so I really like I don't remember which way he was hitting me that time. I just remember he was like roughing me up, you know.
Yeah.
And like I mean enough to where like I was taking a shower, like rinsing little like bits of blood and stuff off me, and I remember him coming in to tell me I love you. You know what I mean? Like I just, you know, you can't leave me. Um, you know, like I have to go handle something, but I'm gonna trust that you're not gonna leave, you know. Um, like, you know, just bullshit. But I don't know what he had to go do. I'm sure it had to do with that girl he was cheating on me with, or money or something, you know. But I would just, I remember I was just drinking and using the most I could. And I also will say this. The night before that incident happened, I will say this. I prayed to God for the first time in a long time. I prayed to him, like, I prayed for a way out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyway, out. And so the next day I took that, you know what I mean? I took the shower and he was getting ready to go, took off. And this girl, Erica, our friend, came by. She needed Kevin's help for something, and I was drunk. Well, I was buzzing, and I was like, yeah, I'm sure he'll be here real soon. You know, but I was real bitter. Like, I was really bitter.
Yeah.
And I'm just drinking away, and you know, like I don't remember the exact information that I had like boiling in me, but it had to do with that other female I knew he was cheating on me with. And as I'm drinking and I'm talking to this other girl that came by, Erica, I just feel, you know, I could feel the rage boiling in me, boiling like bad. And I heard him calling my phone. I will say I heard him calling my phone, but I'm like, if you want to talk to me, guess you better come home, huh? Because, like, it was killing me not to leave, you know?
Yeah.
So I didn't answer the phone to, like, kind of mess with his head. Like, maybe he'll think I left, so he'll show up, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like I was a prisoner. I couldn't leave, you know, like, but, like, I was not happy. I was very much in a rage, and it was hard to hide it, especially drinking and drinking, yeah. You know? So, I remember him pulling up, hearing, like, the tires, like, skidding, like, hella fast in the rocks outside, and, hearing him, he was starting to scream, so I knew he was worried that I had left, and if I hadn't left, he was going to start flipping out, like he was angry that I wasn't answering the phone, which was kind of my goal anyways. And I had hid his gun for him because I was always the responsible one watching out. Like, I knew that he shouldn't have it sitting on a desk by the window, you know what I mean? Like, if the police were to come by, he would definitely be in a lot of trouble. He's not allowed to have a gun, you know?
Yeah.
So, I hid it, like, tucked it for him over in, like, the couch area, just so it's not in plain view. And I remember him coming in, like, you can't fucking answer your fucking phone, bitch. Like, I'm right here if you need to talk to me. You know what I mean? Basically, but he was in a rage, like, and, like, I had lost, like, so much, like, of, like, just my patience and myself and, like, everything about who I was, like, that I really, like, I was really right there in a rage with him, like, and I'll never forget, he said he can't answer your fucking phone, and I guess I did, I threw my phone at him,
Mm-hmm.
I threw it. I threw my phone at him, and he's all, "Yeah, bitch, where's my fucking gun?" And I just did not give a fuck. I was like, "It's right there. I hid it for you. Got it hidden for you, 'cause, you know, so you don't get in trouble. It's right there."
Yeah.
And like, he grabbed it, went and got it. He stuck it in my face right here,
Yeah.
like he has 1,000 times before. And I remember him screaming. He's like, "You don't fucking think I'll do it, bitch?" You know, like, and I screamed back at him to do it. Kind of makes me cry. Sorry.
No. I couldn't imagine going through what you went through.
Yeah, but so I don't know if he meant to pull the trigger or not, but I know he did it. And I'll never forget, like, it's like a flash of light, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he screamed. He screamed my name, like, and he kept screaming the word, like, he's all, "Fuck, Shana, Shana," like, and I just remember this, like, it was like, you know?
Yeah.
So the kind of relationship we had, you know, like, he was, like, willing to always, like, die for me, fucking throw his freedom away from me, you know, like, I thought, like, he would care about my life, you know?
Yeah.
But he sat me down behind the couch, and like, he didn't realize he didn't realize there was that girl, Erica. She was scared, you know, like, and she seen him put the gun in my face, so she backed up into the hallway, like, in the dark, and just, like, covered her mouth, you know, when she was watching us fight, like, and he completely forgot she was there. So he set me down behind the couch and like, ran out the door freaking out. Like, he's screaming. He was like, "Fuck," you know, like, and then I'll never forget, like, she came out of nowhere, like, and jumped over my body, ran out the front door, and went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was, in my head, right, like, I was thinking, this fool's so stupid. He just shot me. So I was like, fuck, I have to stay awake. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
I was like, in my head, I
You're
was
just
like,
trying to survive.
well, yeah, but I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to tell the cops that I shot myself.
Wow.
You know?
You still weren't thinking about telling on him.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, but, like, I knew I had to stay awake in order to tell the police that I shot myself, or he was gonna be in deep shit, you know? So I remember trying to keep my eyes open. And, like, I finally went out, you know? Like, at some point I finally went out. And when I opened my eyes, the first thing I opened my eyes to was that girl that he was cheating on me with, standing over my body.
That's wild.
I had ran up on this girl's house, begged her to tell me that she was seeing him, begged her to tell me anything so I could literally let her have him.
Yeah.
And the first time that she's felt like she should get anywhere near me is while I'm laying on the ground with a bullet in my face.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, at that point, like, I was like, when I seen her, I was like, I was so, like, defeated, like, betrayed, like, just, like, I was, like, done. Like, I was, like, in my head, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
I wanted to die at that point. Like, I was like, let's go. So I closed my eyes, thinking I would just go back to, like, I don't know, like, you feel yourself when you're in that near death situation, you can feel yourself fading, how far you get, you know.
Yeah.
And so I closed my eyes to try to go back the other way. Yeah. So she dragged me into her car and put me in the back seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember waking up here and there, like every time I would wake up, I would be pissed because I hear her, like I could hear her voice, like, and I could hear other people's voices, and I felt like I was in a different area every time. Like I woke up, but I was in the back of the car, you know what I mean? Like, but I could tell by my surroundings, like I was in like not the same place as last time, not the same place as last time, like.
So were you just fading in and out?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I have a memory of like dirt and trees and sticks, like, and like I get like it makes sense, I guess, because like he was trying to have me buried, like, or put in a vineyard, like, because I know he's assuming that if I'm not dead, I'm gotta be inching close to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he don't want to deal with my body, so he has this girl who's all for him and willing. So this girl, naturally, she feels like she needs help, right? um and so she asks Lori, this lady who would be technically my enemy, at that time. I fought her daughter. We did not really see eye to eye, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you like how long it was hours and hours. I was bleeding out in the back of that girl's car and in other places where they were trying to figure out like where to place my body, where I wasn't going to be found, how to make sure I wasn't going to be found. Like I woke up with dirt and scrapes and like just I don't know, all kinds of stuff all over me. But Lori, for whatever reason, decided that she wasn't gonna be a part of it anymore, and she ended up on like the most wanted posters because she was on camera running me up, like in a wheelchair to the St. Joseph's, like the front entrance, you know.
Yeah.
She didn't take me all the way to the entrance, but she put me in the little chair and like pushed me off to the people outside, you know.
Wow.
And she was on camera doing it, so she ended up on a poster or whatever. But like I still, you know, I'm very thankful for her because she saved my life, you know.
Yeah. I was going to say that must have been the reason why you were able to survive that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just being left there instead of.
Yeah, I don't think if Lori were not to like have decided to take me to St. Joseph's when she did, I wouldn't be here, you know?
Wow.
I would not be here.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, and I don't know, I guess what he shot me with was like, it's like a shotgun bullet. Like, I have thousands of pellets in my face. But, like, you know, like, I opened my eyes for the last time, like right in St. Joseph's, like, when they were, like, and I remember all the people, like, when you first get into the, like, area where, you know, people get admitted or
Yeah.
sit and wait, like, their look of panic on their face, like, as they're looking at me, like, trying to cut my clothes off to see if I got any other wounds and stuff, like, but, like, I remember that look of panic, like it was, like, they were looking at something really bad, you know what I mean? Like, it was not good.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I remember that look from the last time I had been shot, but seemed a lot worse this time, you know?
Well, yeah, you look at an injury, especially a gunshot wound to the face, you know, it's not survivable 9 times out of 10, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can imagine the hysteria that's going on when you walk into the hospital. So what was the outcome? What kind of injuries?
So my jaw is like broken. I cannot open my mouth. Like I'm gonna get a second opinion. Like, to be honest with you, like, cause I really feel like I know it'll have to be rebroken, you know.
Wow.
But like like I'd rather have it rebroken than never be able to open my mouth again. Like I can't really eat normal, you know. Like they just said I have so much scar tissue and so many pellets right here, like that. Kaiser said they don't know how to fix it. I was doing physical therapy for a little while, but I have nerve damage on this side of my face, like, and I could feel it, like, just doing like the stretches, like for a week, like I started feeling like my nerves freaking out up the side of my face, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm half blind now, like almost all the way like blind in this eye.
Okay.
Like, okay, so you know if you ever like kick a TV or something, like the lines that
Yeah.
come, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what this eye has.
Wow.
It's a trip.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm thankful that I've healed as much as I have because my face was like swollen out to like here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the pellets are still in there?
Yeah, a bunch of them. I have pictures of them too. I forgot to send them to you.
Wow. That's so crazy. What was that recovery like?
So, they had to ship me off to UC Davis immediately. UC Davis had to do multiple surgeries, like, and it was that that was a horrible experience because, like, I had like literally like okay, I woke up feeling very alone because not only had Kevin like literally like you know, like as a part of an abusive relationship, most of them try to cut you off from the world. Kevin was more successful at it than anybody I've ever been with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I really felt like I had nobody as it was, but like they were not going to let nobody, absolutely nobody in that hospital room to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I guess they got a hold of my grandmother because my mom wasn't with us anymore. Like, you know, they got a hold of my grandmother, and my grandmother said, do not let nobody in to see her,
Yeah.
period. And my grandmother's too old to drive that far to go see me. So, like, really, from the time I woke up,
Mm-hmm.
I was once again, like, trying to figure out how to escape.
So knowing Kevin the way that you knew him and know him, do you think he would have tried to follow up and finish the job, thinking that you might tell on him?
Um, you know, I have no idea. Like, I know he was still after me when I was in the hospital. Like, they had all the guards, like, tripping on my area. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, and he was trying to, like, the phone calls I could, like, get or make or whatever. Like, I know, like I was trying my hardest to get picked up. They were not allowing it. Like, they were not, absolutely not allowing it. And, I have, he was full blown after me, like, till the very day that you know, they let me go. They let me get picked up, knowing that I was being taken to somewhere safe. Like, but I don't know what he would have done. Like, I have no idea if, like, he was gonna plan on kidnapping me to take me out of state with him because they caught him out of state. You know what I mean? Like, um, if he, I don't know. I have no idea.
Wow. So he fled
Yeah,
and he ended up getting caught eventually.
yeah, they
How
were
long
watching.
after?
Huh?
How long after?
So, like, I think I was in the hospital for what, like a month or something. I mean, it was like literally the day that they let me out of UC Davis. So it was like May, May something. So it was about a month after I got shot. He got caught. But they were like, they had a close eye on him. They knew what he was doing the whole time. They were watching him very closely.
Yeah.
And that's why they knew he was trying to reach out to me. That's why they didn't want to let me go out of the hospital. That's, you know what I mean? There was, he made a lot of poor decisions with other, like, firearm deals and stuff like that as he was trying to, like, get out
Wow.
and run from the law, like, as well.
Did you still love him?
Yeah. I would have totally, completely, absolutely ran back right to him.
Wow.
Right to him. Yeah. Like, I was still, like, at first, like, I was still, like, in and out of, like, deciding if I was gonna even say I just, like, really say I was the one that shot myself, I was going to say that I fought with myself hard about it, because I didn't know, like, how I should have handled it, like, if I should, like, I also hadn't, so before I seen myself in the mirror, like, I thought maybe, like, I don't know, like, I didn't know, it was, like, that traumatized me in itself, like, I was thinking I could battle him, like, in the streets again in my own way, like, because you already shot me in the face, what are you gonna do to me now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was very not in my right mind at the time. But, like, I'd also been cut off from the world, like, and I wanted any sense of comfort. And, like, if that had to be him at the time, like, I would have rather had that than to feel that alone.
And nothing. Yeah. Wow. So, what happened to him after he was finally caught up to?
Well, another battle I faced was they were not happy with me that because I was not somebody who would testify in any situation. Like, I lived a crazy life. Like, I'm not just gonna go testify. I don't care what we mean. Like, for whatever reason, like, I was absolutely just not gonna testify.
Yeah.
And victim, witness, and a sheriff. I'm really actually the first sheriff I've ever became friends with. But, like, I wasn't friends with him at this point. But like, at the time, like, he brought victim witness and, like, a huge group of people to one of the houses that, like, I'm known to be at. Like, and I wasn't even there. I was, like, far away at the casino.
Yeah.
And and the sheriff told the guy who lived there, he's like, bring her back, bring her here, like,
Yeah.
And so I got driven back to that house, and they all, like, they told me like this. They go, Shana, do you want custody of your son back? You want a chance to get your son back, right? You want a chance at, like, a better life, and, a path to getting your son back, like.
Yeah.
And that kind of hit me. That hit my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all well testifying, like, bring that possibility into play. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is that even a possible hope to have?
Mm-hmm.
And they told me it was, and because I believed them, so that was the reason I testified on Kevin.
Yeah. And how much time did he get?
He just got sentenced to 21 years.
21. Wow. You know where he's at now?
Huh?
Do you know where he's at now? What prison?
Because I remember I talked to you about it, so I looked it up. Like, I didn't know they had moved him, but they said it's Kern or whatever.
Kern?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. No contact with him since any of this? Nothing?
He's, okay, so I remember I did send him something through somebody, like, one of our friends, because, they do the electronic shit now, like, they have, like, tablets or whatever, like, and one of his friends got out, And like I was not in my right mind. Like I was like really not my normal self, like not even all the way there, like in any way. Like after I took this one, like I was not fully back to my normal thinking ways or anything like that. But I remember I had sent him something through like an app that one of his friends had connected to him. Like really, I think I just talked
Yeah.
shit to him. You know what I mean? But I don't even remember what I said or if I made sense because I was still not mentally all there. You know.
Yeah.
And like other than that though, like I know he's reached out through people. Like people have told me like, hey, Kevin keeps trying to send messages to you through me, and I don't want nothing to do with it, and I don't want you to think that or like, you know, I don't want you to change your viewpoint on how you're dealing with this because he's
Yeah.
wrong, you know.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten quite a few like that, and I just got like a love song sent to me, like the Ashanti song, like that I don't know, they're talking about um it's a love song about being in love, but if people get involved, it's like they're gonna end up dead, like stuff like that. And I'm
Jeez.
like, dude, I'm like, so when they wanted an impact letter,
Mm-hmm.
like, and like, okay, I would have went maybe to his sentencing, but I have forgiven him. I you know, like I have to forgive him to move on. I have not forgiven that girl quite the way I feel like I probably need to. Like honestly, I never loved her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for forgiveness on that, you know what I mean? Like, and I know that if it were up to her, I probably would not be here today. Like,
Yeah.
like it was her mistake that saved my life, but I still have to work on forgiveness there. And she's there sitting next to Kevin's wife, from what I hear. You know, so I wrote him. I gave him a song back about like it's just a song about staying in your own lane of life.
Wow.
And yeah, that was the
Did it feel like a little bit of closure though by doing that? Yeah.
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 Yeah. I know he was begging to like he tried to like have Gilbert he like people offer him money for me to like go retestify that I lied. And
Wow.
like Gilbert wanted nothing, absolutely nothing to do with it, you know, like
Wow.
and like he was asking people to ask me to go back on my story so he doesn't get life, you know, but he didn't he did not come back to save my life.
Yeah.
Like and I have to remind myself that he did not give a fuck when it came to my life, like
It was
and
more.
the kind of relationship and the life we lived, like if he would have been hurt or shot or like, you know, like something would have happened where like his body was lying there in front of his enemies, I would not have left him. You know, like I would
Yeah.
have died next to him, protecting him from his enemies. Like, you know, like, and I feel like he was a coward for the first time, you know,
Yeah.
that I've ever seen. And
He was more worried about his freedom than
yeah,
your safety.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even come back to second, you know, like check again, see if I'm still alive, see if there's a chance that I'm not, you know, like all the way dead.
Well, you are one strong woman. I'll tell you that. Everything
you.
that you've been through, that's, I mean, most people, first of all, half of that, most people wouldn't be able to deal with that and survive through that. And it looks like you came out stronger on the other side. How's life now?
So, okay, so I've grown up and like lived my life for the most part in chaos and like a lot of like just crazy shit going on all the time. So I'm learning like how to be in like normal places and like normal structured lifestyles and like I don't know, like it's sometimes like peace and quiet to me feels like chaos shit though. You know, like I don't understand always how to like like deal with it, you know.
Got it.
But I mean, I did all my programs, my drug courts, my, you know, like, I did like a bunch of therapy, parenting classes. Like I let my son be adopted by his aunt, but as long as I'm walking a straight line and being a responsible adult, I have access to see him, which I'm very
Good.
thankful for. And I have a little baby now that is absolutely like me and probably karma in a way, because I remember the things I used to do to my mom and I see them already in
Yeah.
her. But she's going to have a more structured little home life, so pray for the best.
So clean and sober
Yes.
for how long?
Let's see here. It'll be 3 years in August.
Awesome. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So, this story seems unreal, right? I won't say normal, because you're a normal girl. You just had an extraordinary life,
Yeah.
But to somebody that's never been through something like this, I'm hoping that this brings awareness to, women out there that don't feel strong enough to do the things that you did and went through, testifying against somebody that you love, because you realize that that person really cared more about themselves than they did you
Absolutely.
at the end of the day. So, I mean, I think that speaks volumes for women that are out there going through similar situations, that are afraid to talk about things like this, or afraid to stand up and deal with this kind of stuff head on. And where that leads, often, being in law enforcement, I see what happens is this creates bigger problems, right? It goes from, a slap to a punch to a choke to beating you unconscious to shooting you in the face. I mean, these things escalate at a very fast rate. And I think it's important for women to hear your story, because I think it's important for them to understand that, staying and finding excuses for these men that are doing these things to them is what's going to ultimately put them in a situation similar to what you had to deal with, right? And
Absolutely.
most women that go through that aren't going to survive that,
Yep.
So especially with children, they want their parents around, they want their moms around. They got to, hear this story, and I think that this is an empowering story, and I appreciate you coming here and telling it. So,
Awesome. Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate you having
no,
me.
thank you very much.